Welcome to another broadcast of Don't Give Up. This is number 3. Oh, good. The sun is dropping a little, so it's not extraordinarily backlit. Today we're going to talk about boundaries and discernment. This was a really fun lesson for me to learn. It took a long time. So the premise of my work, the primary tool I champion, is self-love. And if you're not sure what that is, you're not alone. With many traits, you can't know what they are unless you know what they're not. And so if you've always had self-love or you've never had self-love, you don't know. Signposts of not having self-love are feeling like you have to go, I think it's unsettled, I think is a hallmark feeling for it. However, there are experiences y'all are having I couldn't imagine. And so I'll leave the door open and say, maybe this is for you, maybe this is not for you. But again, this broadcast series is for people. It's not for everyone, it's just for my homies who, like me, have come through a bunch of shit and are trying to make the most of kind of the time, life, assets, gifts, blessings, things you got. So when it comes to boundaries, one thing I want to separate is judgment from distinctions. So a judgment is basically, the way that I'm using it here is it's good or bad. In actuality, you don't really know. I'm going to move this a little closer while we got the light back there. You don't really know you don't know what's good or bad because the context isn't complete. For example, something really bad could happen that then opens the door for some kind of growth that then yields something that's really good. Or a driver the other day was telling me about saying how Katrina gifted the city a new airport and some other features. So it's something bad, something good comes from it. So judgment in this context. Morning, everybody, if you're joining. We're talking about boundaries today and discernment. And right now I'm making a distinction about distinction. So judgment is good or bad. Distinction is this is different. So one way I think about distinction, which I'm using now instead of discernment for some reason, is colors. Different than this. Not better, not worse, but different. And in addition to the difference, there's also personal resonance or preference. And I think that's important. So in your healing journey, if you're doing kind of the one that I'm talking about, the big T trauma healing journey, T to B, trauma to being, then it's possible that you learn to suppress or exaggerate your preferences because the environment around you was unnatural. Preferences are basically saying, I don't need to explain why I like this more than this. I like this. And you allow yourself to go with this, not asking, is it okay that I like this? How do you feel about me liking this? Is this, if I like this, does it mean that? Then I need to like that because it means this and that's blah, 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 blah. So judgment is thinking that it's getting caught in kind of the moral assessment. And there's something to that as well. I want to honor all the nuance. In this format, I can't speak to all of them. And the format being a human body because, I just can't. But also in the constraints of this broadcast, I just acknowledge that there are, it's helpful to allow that, that has a place. Good morning, everybody. Hey. So then when it comes to distinction and preference, it's this is different. I like this. I don't like this. One of the values of being on the T to B journey is coming to know who you are uniquely. And that means not who other people needed you to be, not what your circumstances demanded. Okay, lights down a little, back her up a little. But who you are in love and desire. And in knowing yourself, you know what feels good, what fits, and what works versus what you think should. And this is something I love to do with clients, where they'll show up and they'll say, like, I do this and I'm this and it's a problem. And I'm like, oh no, honey, like, that's a fish trying to climb a tree. Let's put you over here in this water. See how that works? See how that goes? So our society, our culture has provided this idea of how we're supposed to function, what we're supposed to look like, how our life's supposed to unfold. You know, it gives us this idea. And then we have what is, and then we have our ideas. And they very rarely the same. They're very rarely the same, because these aren't yours, and what's yet to be can't be known. Like, there's generally a gap. This space can cause you quite a bit of mental, emotional discomfort. This is the way things should have been. This is where I should be. This is where I am. No, it is. I am. It is. Bring them together, and immediately, like, you're free. This is tension that's pulling you outside of your ability to respond to what is in love. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about preference, and you may have been teased out of your preference if you know, for whatever reason. Coming to acknowledge what actually feels good to you, who you are, what you value, and how you work is essential to establishing boundaries that are correct for you. Otherwise, you'd be making them around stuff you don't really care about, and they're hard to reinforce. They're hard to, they're an energy waste. And the process doesn't necessarily have to look like, in fact, it probably won't, you coming to the list of, like, behold, this is me. And then you live. It's kind of like in process. And so there's a level of willingness to evolve and let things change and be different, not just you, but other people, that is important to this process. Also, I talk a lot about in my broadcasts, like, you can't really see, you can't see you can't see things, like, you're looking through stuff. Yes, and this is, again, like, we're in some nuanced material. You can kind of back into some ideas. Are they you? Absolutely no. For example, Shaylee, I found out that I like to go to bed probably around 9:30, 10. Like, there's a rhythm to my body. Is that is that idea of self helpful? Yes. Can it be unhelpful? Yes. If, for example, I'm judging myself for being outside of that rhythm, or thinking other people should be in that rhythm, or not letting that rhythm change if for some reason it should change, like, there's nuance and there's movement, but there are certain features of yourself you can come to sort of reliably allow. I like books. I love art. It's good for me to be around people. I need to be active. Like, there are certain elements of myself that I've come to accept, and therefore, when it comes to a decision, I'm making a decision for Shaylee. So one way to do this is to kind of, like, objectify yourself somewhat. Good morning. So today we're talking about boundaries and discernment, and if I know what I value and what, you know, my deal breakers are, or what my needs, etc. When it comes to drawing a line, I think of protecting essentially my garden. Shaylee has a garden. It's my responsibility to determine what comes in and comes out of the garden. Some things I can't control, you know, like, there's weather. Sometimes rodents run over from other places, but this is my garden. And for my garden to flourish, there are certain things that it needs. And one of the things that I've discovered I need is not emotional chaos. That means that I can't host people in my garden who are unable to hear me or unwilling to look at themselves. They can wave from the outside of my garden, but they can't come deeply into my life, because it's not good for my garden. My garden is important to everybody's garden, because what I don't produce, I take. And what I can cultivate in excess, I can give. So it's actually on behalf of others that I say no to others sometimes. And you don't have to say no in a big dramatic, here's my boundary presentation. It can just be a subtle shifting of your own attention, your own internal attention away from the people and topics that don't serve you. That means that if you don't like who or how they are, don't fucking think about them. Let it rest. Not your business, not your business, not your business. You would be surprised how much you carry with you when it's not around. This is your temple. You decide what you entertain. Like, this is I think of it kind of like a waiting room. It's a little lounge. If they're not in the room with you and they're sitting in the lounge, it's because you invited them in. Of course, there are times when you'll lose control of your headspace if your nervous system is excited. And then you'll start to do all kinds of crazy things. The best thing you can do when you notice that you're not controlling your thoughts is not try to think. Don't follow what the thoughts are saying. Breathe, buddy, breathe. Get control of your body. Okay, I'm in my body. I'm safe in my body. Everything's okay right now. We're okay. I'm with you. We're okay. It's okay. I'm with you right now. We're going to breathe. I can feel myself calming down. Try to feel your nerves. Like, actually try to feel your nerves and see them go from to chill. Give yourself the opportunity. Say, first I'm going to get to my safe spot. I'm going to get in my little teepee of personal safety. And then I'll think about what I need to think about. Or allow yourself to put all the energy that's moving through you onto paper. These are the things that I'm worried about. These are the things. Let it come out, give it somewhere to go, and then say okay, great. Obviously in this state, I'm not doing anything new with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over here. And then when I'm in a stronger state, I'm feeling inspired, I'll reapproach it and see what did I miss? Another thing, and it feels so good to talk about this more openly and confidently, is ask your spirit, good God, ask your angels, ask spirit, ask God, ask the universe to show you what you need to see to resolve whatever is agitating, the waiting room, because it's often something in the background, something that you're afraid of, something that you don't want to feel. If you invite it forward, likely it'll come forward. And when it comes forward, then you can have a conversation with it and it stops making noise in the background. Sometimes the conversation that it wants to have is just for it to be seen. Okay, so hello everybody for joining. Right now, today I'm talking about boundaries and discernment, and I've gone over a little bit around preference and individuality, and kind of tying it all together. Boundaries are basically the ability, the willingness. First, the willingness. Willingness is so key in all of this. And what is willingness? Willingness is basically the surrender of ego. It's let go, let God, Jesus take the wheel. I don't know. It's basically saying I am willing to be wrong. I am willing to change. I am willing to let this thing that I think is important, or this thing that I think that it isn't, or it'll be something else. Willingness is opening your hands. It doesn't mean that you don't continue to act toward the thing that's important. It doesn't mean anything except mentally you stop fidgeting. So in boundaries, what you do is you allow, we've got the moral judgment. You're basically saying like with the example of my garden coming from, and I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm allowed to talk about it whenever I want, but I choose not to for reasons that are mine, and maybe there's a reason involved. But for anyhow, Shaylee's personal path was basically I had to accommodate people who didn't have emotional control, particularly a couple adults. I learned to accommodate that, even though it didn't feel good. As an adult, the work was to come to say I can understand and appreciate that that's challenging for you, because what I did, and not having control over my garden, not being able to tell people get the fuck out, was make it okay. I made it okay by understanding it. Oh, they're this way because of that. Or maybe if I did this, or blah, blah, blah. The truth of it is, like, it didn't feel good, it didn't work. As an adult, you know, it doesn't have to be adult children. Give this to your kids, people. It's basically saying, like, I can appreciate and understand that that's the journey that you're on. You don't have control over your emotions. That's okay. At the same time, it's not okay for me. See that? That's our distinction. Okay for you, I honor and respect the journey that you're on. Not okay for me. It doesn't support my garden. If I have a deficit in my garden, it's going to be, you likely make it other people's problem because you don't feel good and you're not taking ownership or responsibility of yourself. And so you're going to put it other places. And they're not going to be able to fix the problem because it's not theirs, it's yours. Does anyone have any questions before we go today? So today in boundaries, let's see, anything else today? No, that's it. That's all I got for today. If you're watching this series on YouTube, I film these on Instagram. If you're watching on Instagram, these are on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, help us, sister out. You know, I work with clients one-to-one, and while there is an element of like this material, each person I'm actually acting more as a conduit and a vessel for messaging that is unique to them. I'm not walking anybody down Shaylee's paths. I'm helping them find the part of them that knows how to walk down their own path. My gift is empowerment, and I'm empowering people to be their own guide and see their own stuff. I'm not trying to paint anybody into my picture. I think that's silly. There's so many pictures out there. How would I know what their picture should be? I also am pumped to represent artists both in New Orleans and beyond. So if you're looking for a magical piece of work to change your room or to gift to somebody you love, let me know. There's more about all of that on my website, haveabook.com. And you're welcome to schedule an info call to talk to me about for free. You can say, like, behold, these are the things I've got on my mind, and I can say, like, behold, this is the way that I work, and this is the way that I would approach that. And then if there's something for us to do together, we can, and if not, it was nice to meet you, you know. Anything else today? Yes. What else today? Okay, what I'm hearing right now is be still, and as part of this process, like, when you are coming out of trauma, remember this is for my homies, my trauma homies, your thinking is super distorted, I'm sorry to say. You're looking through the lens of a victim. You're looking through the lens of disempowerment. You're looking through... I love you. You're looking through these different ideas that you established in the dark. That means that you won't be able to think your way out of most of your problems because you can't think straight. But what you can do is breathe safety into your body, and by that you can make room for new ideas or for things to change. I can't really, it feels like not a caveat, so whatever, but it does seem like energetically you keep what you resist active. Resisting it is basically saying, like, I have to fix this myself. I have to fix this myself. What's this? Did I look at this? Did I go back there? What's this? You know, did we talk about it enough? Did I think about it enough? Did I say enough about it? Did I blah, 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 blah. You know what you do? You just carry it from moment to moment then. But if you give it to God and you're like, here, hold this, or the spirit or universe, whatever, and you're like, all right, I'm obviously not seeing that correctly. Like, good morning, help me out. It works for me. Perhaps it'll work for you. It's so cool in this broadcast, and I didn't see this coming, but it's basically like, lean on God, you know, and I don't mean the Christian God, because that God rejected me. The Christian God did not find me worthy. It's because I don't think that words are the thing. When I say God, I mean life. I mean a benevolent intelligence that animates and grows through all things. And I mean love. Thanks everybody for coming out. A blessing. Have a great day. Oh, there's something else. What? Oh, be still. Be still is like, you can use it to fill in the cracks. If you can't maintain control over the whole waiting room that I was talking about earlier, that's okay. Just little seconds here and there. And when you do that, really relax into it. Oh, isn't this nice? It's just me and you, baby. Just me, you, the moment, you on life. None of the noise. Isn't this nice? Because that's where you're trying to go, ironically, in all your other fidgetings. You're trying to be able to feel safe enough to relax into the moment and enjoy it and act as yourself from here on your desires. That's where you're trying to go. Isn't that funny? Anything else? No. Nope, that's it. Okay. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.